Hi guys, it's Christine from This Girl Hikes, and today I'm going to share with you my thoughts on the Spot GEN3 GPS satellite messenger for personal safety. This could actually be used for a number of different recreations. Anybody that's kind of going to be out there, out of cell phone range, this is the device that will use satellite communication to communicate OK messages, requests for help from friends and family, and also an emergency SOS button that will contact local search and rescue in case of a life-threatening emergency. So this is not a cheap device, nor is it super expensive. The MSRP is $169.95, but I'm going to tell you right now, do not pay more than $149.99 for this. There are a number of retailers, just a quick Google search pulled up, that are listing it for $149.99. I believe if you purchase it through the Spot website, which is findmespot.com, they have it for sale for $169.95, but don't pay that. You will also need to purchase a service plan for this device, and I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video, the different price points for that. But those are also going to be starting at $149.99. So you're looking at about a $300 investment just to get this thing up and running for a single year. And then the service plan will need to be renewed after the first year. Through and just talk about a couple of the claims that Spot has about their devices. So first of all, they call it a critical life-saving line of communication. They claim to have made 4,883 rescues using their devices at the time that this video is made. One thing that I really like about it is that it is SMS capable, so you can send text messages to friends and family members using this device, and I'll get into what that entails in just a moment. Now for the size of it, about 3.5 inches by about 2.5 inches, and it's 1 inch thick. I took the back off of it right now, that's why it looks like that, but inside it has 4 lithium-ion AAA batteries, or you can do the NIMH batteries, and it does have a USB port for rechargeable. Included with the purchase of the device is this strap right here, a USB cable, a quick reference guide, a carabiner, and actually the batteries. While I'm here real quick, I just want to show you that one thing about the back faceplate that's really, really nice is that the screws actually, they unscrew, but they don't fall all the way out. So that's really nice if you're needing to access the back of your device. So some of the other components of this device, on the front, you'll see on the side here, there is the power switch. You really do need to use quite a bit of intention to hit that power switch so you won't be inadvertently turning it on and draining the batteries, or turning it off when you may potentially want it on. Along the top line here are 3 LED indicator lights. There's the power light, the GPS light, and the message sent light. Each of these will light up in either red or green depending on what it's trying to tell you. So for the power button, a green light is a good. It means your batteries are good to go. But a red light, especially a red light blinking quickly, is an indication that you need to change your batteries ASAP. The GPS light, if it illuminates green, it is indicating that it is able to determine your position using GPS satellites. However, a red light will be an indicator that it is not able to locate your position. And the message sent light is letting you know that your most recent message was sent, depending on whichever one of these buttons below that you are trying to use. Down here on the bottom row is a couple of helping hands. There's actually a light here and then a flap that underneath where the button is. The help button which will alert your personal contacts that you need help. So it's if you need help, you're requesting help, but it's non-life threatening, so you don't require search and rescue, but you just need your friends and family to come out and give you some help. On the other side is the SOS button, and this one is in red, so it's kind of hard to make a mistake and hit the wrong one. So you do have to lift up that flap, which actually snaps down in order to access it, and then it's in red. That is the oh shit button. So if you really need some help for a life-threatening emergency, you can go ahead and hit that button, and what's going to happen is the GEOS International Emergency Response Coordination Center will provide the GPS coordinates of your device to your local search and rescue or local response team, so 911. So that button is what's gonna really get you some help if you need it. And the bottom row of lights and buttons are the first one here on the most left-hand side is custom message button. So prior to leaving for your trip, you can actually just log on to your account for your device and set a custom message. So personally, I have a custom message set that says, "We're okay, but running behind schedule." So that's just an indicator to friends and family that we're not going to arrive at the anticipated time, but everything's a-okay and we require no assistance of any kind. I'm going to skip the middle one and come back to it in just a moment, but the button on the right hand side with the check mark and the okay, that's the check-in okay, and that's just a little indicator to let friends and family know that you are okay. It's going to send pre-programmed text to the contacts that you've already predetermined, either by text message or email, and it's going to email a link to Google Maps or send GPS coordinates via text message. You can use that for up to 10 different contacts, and it's actually also going to store your waypoints in your account, so you can kind of look back on that. Now moving back to the footprint button, that is the tracking button. And so the Spot GEN3 does track motion regardless of the level of tracking that you have determined. So there are 3 levels of tracking, and I'll get into this a little bit more in the service plan options, but there's basic, unlimited, and extreme tracking that can take from every, that'll take your GPS coordinates automatically from intervals of 2.5 minutes all the way to every 60 minutes. So there is actually a vibration sensor built into this device, so as long as it's moving, it is going to be tracking your movements. Just the intervals of that are going to be different depending on the plan that you choose. I want to go over a few important tips in order to make sure that the device functions properly. It needs to have a clear view of the sky. It's not reliable indoors, in a cave, or in very dense woods. So those are some things to keep in mind. Also, they say by orienting it so that this label is pointed upwards towards the sky, that will give you better chances of getting a signal. So some features of it is water resistant, so putting it out in the rain now, it has no effect on it. It's actually water resistant up to 1 meter deep for 30 minutes. The temperatures in which it's able to operate are as low as -22 degrees Fahrenheit and as high as 140 degrees Fahrenheit. If you are doing anything outside of those temperatures, God bless you, because you will never ever see me in extreme conditions like that. Hopefully not. Not where I have an option. And then for altitudes, it works as low as -328 up to 21,320 feet. So those are just kind of like the physical components as well as some of the features of the device. In the backcountry, I've never had a problem with it working. My messages have seemed to always come through. Sometimes the custom message, sometimes the little check-in messages were saying something different than I knew that they said. We forgot to change them. But you can actually set up different profiles on your account. So while I was preparing for this video, I did go ahead and pop in and create a profile called Christine's Hiking so that while I'm in possession of the GPS device and it's not in use by another member of my family, like say my dad when he's riding his motorcycles, he uses this. So one time when I was out on a backpacking trip, I kept sending messages that said, "I'm okay, but bike is broken," or something like that. And fortunately, the recipients of my text messages kind of figured out what had happened and they knew that everything was fine. And I was just going about business as usual. Yeah, so when you're in possession of the device, you can't see what the messages you send out are saying, nor can you receive messages on this. But you would have to go in advance onto the website. You can even do it, I think, on your cell phone and just update what the profile says. And it's going to be different depending on what your outdoor recreation is and maybe what the trip details are. Now, one thing that I will note is when I first started wearing this, I wore it on the back of my pack. And then I kind of remembered that I would not be able to get to it in the event of emergency. So let's talk about service plans. As I mentioned before, the upfront price for purchasing the device is not the only fee associated with this. There is a service plan starting as low as $149.99 for an annual payment. That's an upfront payment, or you can opt to pay $14.99 a month for a 12-month term. So if you have the money upfront, it's going to save you a little bit to just pay it in full, since you do need to commit to a 12-month term for the month-to-month pricing anyway. That's the basic plan, and that's the plan that I have. It includes the SOS feature, so that's the life-saving feature. It includes the access to the help button, so sending a message needing help for friends and family, the custom message, the check-in button, and then the basic tracking plan. So that'll track you at, I think, 60-minute intervals, so every hour. Especially for what I use it at with hiking. I mean, really, we're not going that many miles an hour, so it's really going to get a good radius of where I could potentially be if it's sending out an indicator every hour. If you are using it for a recreation that moves at a much faster pace, you might want to consider upgrading to either the unlimited or the extreme tracking. The unlimited tracking will add on $49.99 per year, and you can opt to set your tracking mode to 5, 10, 30, or 60-minute intervals. And then the extreme tracking is $149.99 a year additional, which would make your service plan $300 a year, and that's going to track you at 2.5-minute intervals. All of this information is listed on the website. I will link that below so you have all of it, but I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of who it might work for and how it can work for you. One of the other options that we added on, I mentioned earlier that it has a roadside assistance option. That's not something that anyone in my family felt like we needed. We all have roadside assistance available through other options. So we did go ahead and add on the GEOS, which is $17.95 per year. And what that is kind of like an insurance policy. It will cover up to a $50,000 reimbursement for an individual rescue act. But it also puts more accountability on what's it called? The International Search and Rescue, the company that's notified when you do hit that SOS button. It gives them a little bit more responsibility in making sure that you are getting the assistance that you needed. Actually, it's a lot of it more responsibility. So essentially, if you press that button under the basic plan, what's going to happen is they're going to notify your local rescue, so your local 911, your local search and rescue, and it's going to completely be in their hands. Now with the GEOS option add-on, they're going to contact your friends and family. They're going to make sure that your local search and rescue, wherever you are in the world, has the resources they need to assure your rescue. So especially if you're traveling abroad or in an underdeveloped area, that's something that you might really want to consider. To be honest, for my use and my needs and the needs of my family, it's not really something that we would need. I think we did opt to add it on because of the reimbursement and if we needed to utilize a helicopter for rescue in any of the activities that we use it for, that's something that for less than $20, it was kind of like it seemed like a good payoff. I don't think that you need it, but depending on what kind of activities you're out there doing, if you are going into very remote areas, into areas that are still in development, I think having that assurance that there's an advocate for you, that they know what they're doing and they're going to ensure that you are rescued appropriately with all of the resources available, that's something that could be worth paying for. So I just wanted to talk about that option really quickly. But basically that's it. The only thing I would say that I wish that this thing had that it doesn't is I wish it had something that would illuminate in the dark. It doesn't have any glow in the dark features to it. If it's on, of course the lights are going to illuminate, but I don't necessarily want to leave it on 24 hours. So I might consider just adding a little bit of glow-in-the-dark tape or something to it, just that I could find it in my tent at night in the dark if I needed to quickly. So anyway, that's just my review of the Spot Gen 3. And I hope that it was helpful for you. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment below and I will try to answer those for you. Also, I will leave a link to the website below so that you can look at that as a resource for any questions that you might have and any more specific information about the product. But thank you so much for watching and I will see you again very soon. Take care, bye-bye.